Mario!
It's you!
It's me! It's Luigi! Welcome, Marketing Mario, to our show today. This is a B2B Mentors, and we're ready to talk marketing and jumping and mushrooms and all the good things that make great marketers out there. What do you think, Mario?
Ready to go!
Okay, here we go!
I don't think I can keep up the
I knew I was going to lose the
Mario
mustache.
voice any longer, but it was spectacular while it lasted. I was just like pumped up, dubstep intro coming on. It was just like, yeah, super excited. Had to come out with the Mario voice to start it out. You one-upped me on the mustache. I
see what you did there.
One of my big regrets, I'd been rocking the full on. I went like a first year and a half of the pandemic without shaving my mustache and had like the full bushy Mario mustache. I didn't have the bleached hair. So I was like full on committed, full in, total 100% devotion to the Mario craft. But now I'm clean shaven and rocking the Backstreet Boys.
And look at this slick. I mean, at least you got the hat. I bugged you enough to get the hat. And I was like, can we do the whole show in Mario and Luigi voice? I don't know. I don't know how far we'll make it. We may not get any good content out, but it's going to be entertaining. At the end of the day, it's going to be entertaining. And that's what matters, folks, right? No, in fact, we have some great content for you today. And I have a guest. I usually do an intro when I jump in, but I needed the special pop appearance as if I was emerging from the marketing tubes of Mario Land. And I have with me Mario today. Mario, I mean, 3-time head of marketing, 2X unicorn startup, 1 exit, all before the age of 30. Very, on the young side, but very ahead of your years in terms of, your experiences, your level of expertise on marketing. I'm eating hair. And on top of that, Mario is currently the VP of marketing at Stored, where his team is creating and evangelizing the future of logistics with cloud supply chain. Outside of staring at screens, Mario is a competitive ultramarathon runner. He eats lots of vegetables, which is only fitting for Mario, and occasionally wears Mario outfits and is blessing us with his presence today. So welcome to the show officially, my friend. Great to have you. And we're going to have a good time. Do you want to give a little bit of an expansion? I mean, feel free to brag about yourself. Anything I missed that you think is super pertinent, background wise for people to know about you?
Damn. I feel like after that intro, anything else that I say about myself, I'm just going to like tarnish myself. And like, the more that I talk about myself, the less interested I think people are going to get. You did a killer freaking job, but yeah, been in and out of marketing over, coming up on the last 10 years now. A lot of experience in the product marketing realm. More recently, have been rocking the B2B world and really on a mission to both specific to the companies that I work at, but more broadly evangelize across the entire market that, B2B marketing doesn't have to suck. As buyers of B2B software, B2B services, you don't want to be treated like some boring executive, whoever it is that you're trying to send this super formal email with a PDF to, it's like, what do you think they do at 6 p.m. at night? Do you think they're sitting there in their, formal attire in their house and communicating in fully grammatically correct sentences over text with their family? No. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a level of respect required, but the great marketing is about finding the right people, understanding what they care about, what makes them tick, and providing legitimate value to them. And it's unfortunate that so much of that foundation has, in a lot of ways gotten lost in translation and B2B. So,
or I would say gotten stuck as well, like stuck in the old archaic. I mean, honestly, guys, go look, and let me pop this up here too. I'll let you dive onto this too. If you go look at what Stored is doing on their even LinkedIn account, it's really funny stuff. And it's like fun stuff. And it, after I first met Mario and we had a conversation and like, getting to know you, I'm like, I can see it. Like I can see, the millennial version of B2B branding and marketing done the right way, which is really, really exciting. And by the way, I forgot to mention this too. For those of you that are listening, you're like, what the heck is going on right now? We are in fact dressed in Mario and Luigi outfits. So you have to go check out the video after the fact on YouTube or on the post here. But with that, I mean, in your experience, what is it that makes really great marketing nowadays? And what are people missing in terms of getting out of that old school mentality? You've done it across a multiple of different companies, one that you've even gone through an exit with. What is it that, in your definition, makes great marketing?
You know, at the most simple form, great marketing excites people. It creates a emotional response. And obviously, you know, I think that I don't want to be the person that comes out and makes it seem as if great marketing is just, you know, funny memes and, you know, shit posting on LinkedIn. There's a lot of people that can do that, and that doesn't make you a great marketer. It's really when you're able to combine that content that truly does create that strong, positive, emotional response, and do that in an appropriate, respectful way. And the only way you can earn the right to do that is if you truly have that immensely strong level of empathy, and if not empathy, at least sympathy for what your audience is experiencing, what your customers are experiencing. Someone a lot, you know, smarter than me, and probably a lot better at marketing than me, once told me that if you can communicate a customer's problem more clearly and more eloquently to them than they can themselves, you're always going to seem like the right solution. And so when you're able to create that magic that really occurs when you have this super deep understanding of your customers and their problems, a very strong understanding of what you do, you'd be amazed at how many marketers out there don't even actually understand how their own products, their own services work. And you can take those two pieces and then figure out how can you package that? How can you communicate it in a way that people actually want to engage with? Whenever we put out marketing content, you know, I think about myself as both a consumer and as a B2B buyer. I buy a lot of softwares, I buy a lot of services, and you know, I'm no different than anyone else. It's, you know, I'm watching my Hulu account, or you know, I'm watching tennis on TV, and you know, the commercials come on and I'm programmed, I want to mute that crap. I don't want to see that. Like I have this emotional response of like, no, I don't want to engage with that. And the reason for that is because we've become so accustomed to people always trying to sell to us, or force something down our throat. And so why would we think that that approach is going to work? And so ultimately what creates that great marketing is when you're able to create something that someone actually wants to see. Every time we publish an ad here at Stored, every time we create content, we ask ourselves, you know, what about this is going to blow someone's socks off? What about this is going to make them go want to share this with someone else, tell their friends, tell their family about it? And, you know, I say this a lot to my team, that if you're publishing something that you're not like friggin' pumped to put out there, that like you can't wait for the world to see, why the heck do you think anyone else is going to give a shit? It's like I teach this class on marketing at a big logistics association, trying to help other small businesses in the supply chain space get better at marketing. The first thing I tell everyone, rule number one, no one gives a shit. If you're assuming that the people you're trying to market to want to hear from you, you've already failed.
So I love this guy. I mean, you speaking my lingo, Mario. You're speaking my lingo. So what is it in getting and truly understand? Because it's one of those things that's said often, you know, got to understand, one, their pains almost even better than they do. And two, you got to make it interesting and entertaining. And of course, there's like, do your market research and interview this and interview that. What's been your creative process to go through that, from making it entertaining, but also, you know, legitimately truly understanding the pains of your potential customers?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, oftentimes, and I'm guilty of this, a lot of, you know, no one's perfect, but I think a lot of sales and marketing folks have a tendency to force a certain pain on their customers. obviously, you've built a company, you built a product, you built a service, and that service was built on a certain hypothesis. And so it's almost like we have this impetus to really want that to be the pain that our customers have. And so when we go into user research, when we go into conversations, we're almost putting our own bias in the mouths, in the thoughts and the emails of our customers. So I think step one is trying your best to remove you from the equation. It's not about whether or not someone wants to buy your service or buy your software. It's about why are they even talking to you in the first place? And, this all is high level and philosophical. People are like, I hate it when people talk about this stuff and I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't want to be that guy. So I'll give you a really specific example. So, one of the things that we do at Stored is we handle all of the physical logistics for a lot of big and successful direct-to-consumer companies. So that's, picking up their products at the port, distributing that product out throughout the country, storing it, shipping it out to their end customers, literally owning almost the most intimate piece of their business of how they reach their customers. And if you go out and look at how the vast majority of direct-to-consumer fulfillment companies market themselves, you'll see a lot of the same stuff. It's, you can be like Amazon Prime. You can get 2-day shipping. We're 99.999% accurate. And everyone wants that customer's problem to be like, hey, brand, hey, fulfillment company, make me like Amazon Prime. And sure, there's, some interest in that. But that's the surface level analysis. Once you actually dig deeper and actually talk to your customers, actually go and, one of the best ways to get insight is not to even talk to a customer directly. Go find someone that has that relationship, someone who's been in that space, someone that knows your customers, and ask them what's keeping these people up at night. And, one of the most insightful things that we've found is that, sure, our customers care about fast shipping, reliability, locations in certain areas. But what we've really determined is that in this fulfillment market, so many brands are actually purchasing out of fear. What do I mean by that? Everyone that's gotten to the 50, 100 plus million in sales in the direct-to-consumer space, you show me a brand that's doing 100 million in sales and direct-to-consumer, and I will bet you anything that they've had shit experiences with third-party logistics. Probably not once, probably not twice. They've been through warehouse and fulfillment partner and warehouse and fulfillment partner. And for whatever reason, it's bad tech, bad communication, missed orders, problems, damaged goods. They've seen it all. And so by the time they get to you're now, partner number 7 that they've looked at, and they have this repertoire of all of these bad experiences that have gotten them to where they are today. And so if my pitch to them was just, hey, we're going to get you 2-day shipping, we can put your products in all these areas, they're just going to be like, well, that's the same crap that every single other one of these fulfillment providers has been telling me for years, yet I've never found one that truly delivers the value that I want. And so once we realized that, we understood, okay, our pitch needs to be truly about trust and reliability. And we need to address that head on when we start saying to customers, hey, we get it. Just by the fact that we're talking to you, you've probably been burned a couple of times. You're probably really afraid of the downside cost of us screwing up. So here's how we are going to specifically go about avoiding that risk for you. Before you can even get the right to talk about all this extreme value in the logistics space, it's how do you prove to that customer that we're not going to screw you over, that, you're not taking on this massive, massive, massive downside risk by taking on a new partner. And once we started that as like our starting point on a lot of our pitches, a lot of our SDRs.
Is this some way you've mitigated risk in the back end and you're leveraging that in your marketing because they've gone through the roundabout? Or are you just really positioning it in a different way? Or are you actually doing something differently to mitigate, them getting burned in the risk, potential?
100% both. I mean, obviously, Stored's an awesome business, and we would not be awesome if the only differentiation we had was, great marketing. Obviously, it starts with us being able to actually deliver on that promise for customers. And, if people want a quick, stored sales pitch, I'm sure they don't. The kind of key difference is that the vast majority of these fulfillment providers live in a provider centric world. So they essentially build their offering around what's going to be best for them. How do I most profitably service customers? How do I optimize for my margin? How do I minimize my costs in serving you? And, that's great for a certain type of customer, because, a small SMB can go to one of these providers and get, a cheaper experience than you're going to get with stored. You'll probably be able to get started faster than you will with stored. But for that customer that's really at that scale that needs that level of experience, it's a totally different process. When you work with stored, we start with, let's understand your business. Okay, this is your business. We're going to build a solution specifically around your business. Whereas the opposite approach that a lot of these direct-to-consumer fulfillment shops do, they're like, all right, here's my box. Fit your business into my box, and we got you. But, oh, you want something outside of the box? You want the box to expand? Good freaking luck. And, once we really understood that the real emotional driver to a lot of our customers was less so about obtaining some massive, cool, sexy feature, and about giving them the confidence that they need to feel like this isn't going to be like the last 3PL I worked with or the one before that, we were able to permeate that out across so many things we do. My team makes content about this. We really have a series of videos kind of funnily like exposing that emotional reaction that so many customers have. We have this series where we basically are riffing on the old Key and Peele Obama anger translator videos, where we have basically logistics professionals like trying to be super PC and like, make it seem like it's not so bad. And then we have this anger translator guy who actually says what those people are actually meaning. And like one of the video series we made was specifically about this dynamic of how afraid businesses are to go and try to find something better, because anytime you move on to a new solution, there's always that risk that it's even worse and you've wasted time, you've wasted money. And just building that empathy opens so many doors that would never be open to us if all of our strategy was just, we do this is our feature, we do that, we're great at that.
People don't care. Dive in a bit into how you've actually deployed what you've been doing in terms of like channels. What have you been give us the dirt. And first off, at a high level, who are those key personas and influencers that you are trying to reach within your, customer profile? Hit on that first, so people understand, like, this isn't selling, candy in a store. I mean, these are very sophisticated, logistics, smart-minded people that you're trying to get to come over and transition from either an existing partner or, they're in between partners at this point in time.
No doubt. So stored, predominantly, we sell into companies that move physical products. We play in the kind of mid-market enterprise space. On the kind of low end of the spectrum, some of our smaller customers are in the 50 to 100 million in revenue, up through a few billion. Once you get into like the $5+ billion range, it tends to be more common for those folks to want to own more of the experience on their end, although there's obviously variations. But we can call it kind of our sweet spot is maybe the 100 million to 2 billion in revenue for companies that are either
selling. Who are the titles? Who are the actual titles that you're kind of marketing to?
The reason that I started with the kind of companies and sizes is that there's actually a decent amount of variation of who those people are, depending on who we're going after. So, if you're looking at a, multi-billion-dollar omni-channel business that's selling retail, that's also selling into trading partners that have some of their own direct-to-consumer business, that team's going to have a full-on dedicated supply chain team. And so you're selling into people who have been doing this for decades. And as a young company, it can be difficult to, build up that trust. Hence why it's so important for us to create that empathy and understanding. But for those larger enterprise customers, it is a chief supply chain officer, VP of logistics, VP of ops, head of fulfillment, head of e-commerce and you're selling directly into these companies, literally have a whole team of people who are dedicated to making their supply chain function. Well, at a minimum function, ideally optimized, but most people are still stuck in the, let's make sure it's not, on fire. But both for reasons of scale, but also strategically, when you look at maybe some of these smaller but up and coming, growing direct to consumer brands that are digitally native, that might be in the 50 to a couple $100 million in revenue, with their primary channel really being a Shopify Plus store or some sort of a website selling directly to consumer. Both for the reason that some of these organizations aren't at the point where they have a massive in-house supply chain team, and for the reason that that connection from product to customer is the basis of their whole business. You're a direct-to-consumer company. It is like the connection between your business and your customers, how you actually deliver that product. It actually tends to be that we see a lot more involvement, literally all the way up to founder, CEO, COO in those types of engagements. And so when we think about marketing, we have, our enterprise audience, we have our mid-market direct-to-consumer audience, and both the content that we're pushing through against both of these audiences, as well as to an extent the channels. There's probably more overlap in the channels, but the content and the persona targeting are actually quite different depending on who we're going after. Even though in at least at a high level, these two groups of people might be using the same services at store. But so if you looked at it from a store-centric perspective of we're selling this product, you might think, oh, okay, well, we should just, why are they so different? But when you look at it from a persona-centric perspective and a, people-centric perspective, you realize, oh, wow, what one person there needs to hear is actually drastically different from what this other person wants to hear.
And so talk in terms of those channels specifically, are you doing a lot of, is it just mostly organic right now? Is that where the bulk of your activity flow is going through? Is it, outbound, a little bit of inbound, and what kind of activities are you tapping, in terms of that?
Yeah, so up until about a year and a half ago, there was pretty minimal marketing at Stored. Strong brand. The founders are incredible advocates, but there wasn't much in the form of like this is our marketing strategy, this is our channel strategy, and therefore pretty much all the growth was coming through your just old school traditional model. And I don't mean that to be negative. Like, this is like, at the end of the day, despite all the sexy marketing tactics, picking up a phone and calling someone remains the most efficacious way to close business, even in 2022. And I don't see that changing. But, go back a year and a half or so ago, and all the growth from Stored was either referrals from folks in our network or just, your traditional hand-to-hand combat outbound B2B sales. About a year or so ago, we really, once we got the brand, the positioning, the messaging in a much more solid place, what you see if you were to go and look at store.com or any of our social channels, what you see now is a drastic departure from what you would have seen a year ago, or even worse, a year and a half ago. But once we got these pieces in place and had that confidence, we really started to ratchet up more of the digital marketing piece. So, I'd love to say, all right, we spend no money on marketing, it's all organic, but that's a lie. We certainly spend money to promote Stored. You got to spend money to grow. So we're playing on, from a channel perspective, I don't have any secrets. Something I tell people is like, you go and you interview 10 CMOs and you ask them, what their marketing strategies are. And, if you think about strategies as like what channels you're active on, you're going to hear the same thing from all of them. So I don't know of any secret social media advertising.
Well, let me reframe that. Are you doing Google ads? Are you doing a lot of Google ads? Are you doing industry, publication promotion through there, click ads through there, or mostly like LinkedIn? Like, what are the specifics in terms of how you're actually deploying it?
Yeah, so we play kind of your traditional PPC stack. So Google, inclusive of display, search, discovery, and YouTube. On social, LinkedIn is our primary investment, both from a content and a ad spend perspective. actually, surprisingly, I never would have guessed this, 2 years ago, but our number 2 is actually Instagram, where we've had a lot of success actually hitting, especially in that direct to consumer world. It kind of makes sense that, that's a enormous channel. If you're a, cosmetics brand that's selling direct to consumer, or a footwear brand or a beauty brand, that, you're playing there. And so us reaching you there, I guess, makes a good bit of
Is that
sense.
ads that you're actually running on Instagram?
Predominantly ads. I'd love to get to a point where it's like our organic Instagram is a massive influence, but I'd be lying.
It's tricky to do in this realm versus organic on LinkedIn, right? Like when it's Instagram, you really have to get it in front of them for the most part.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer your channel question, we run the traditional PPC channels that you would expect. We do a few kind of industry specific sponsorships and promotions. We've developed not a massive list of, but growing list of various channel partners of folks that are either influencers in our space, or are adjacent to us in technology, where we have either integrations or referral partners. But from a inbound marketing perspective, as not sexy and as not and like as normal as it sounds, we are seeing the vast majority of our wins on Google, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook.
I think that was actually more vital, that what you just brought up, than you probably realize, because again, talk to a lot of marketers, see a lot of content on LinkedIn about this whole world, and people are trying to get too fancy sometimes with how they're deploying their marketing, versus like, oh, PPC is dead, SEO is, not usable anymore. Like, I wouldn't even consider Instagram. We're 100% B2B. Our market's not even there. And I mean, these are traditional channels that you got to tap them, find what works, and then scale the crap out of it. But we get so distracted as marketers by all the shiny objects that are out there. We're too busy trying all this different stuff versus relying on the bread and butter.
No doubt about it. It's so easy to get down that rabbit hole, but my team, we talk about this a lot. And, if you were to peer into like a weekly team meeting, you might find us, 27 layers down a rabbit hole on this. But, the things that I say every week to my team, keep it simple. What can we do to grow this business more? On any week in time, I ask my team, all right, here's what you can do. You can find new people that are in our ICP that we don't know about yet. We can create new and better content to hit them with. We can optimize the way we're hitting them, either channel mix or optimization within a channel. And we can increase the rate at which we win. Almost everything falls into one of those 4 buckets. And so, you can get, like I said, 27 layers down into the dungeon of digital marketing. But, and to be completely honest with you, I'm not a tactical demand gen guy. That's not, my area of strength or my background. And, every week when we do our weekly marketing team meeting, I ask everyone, all right, of those 4 levers, which ones did you pull this week? What do you think it did? And it's very easy to, like you said, kind of get stuck in the minutia. But at the end of the day, successful marketing is actually a lot more simple philosophically than people think. I don't care where it is, if you can reach the people that you want to target, and what you're reaching with them is creating value for them, you will see value.
Gold, man. Before we wrap up here, definitely, you're under the age of 30. We're both under the age of 30. Have excelled pretty quickly, and just the recognition of our, what we've done in marketing and sales and branding all of that over the years. And so what would be your advice, your Mario's marketing lessons for those who, are either students or just kind of emerging? I know a lot of people go and get their marketing degree and they come out and they're like, why am I not a VP of marketing or a marketing director or marketing manager or a CMO? And I go straight into those roles, and I think that I can jump in and just crush it right off the bat. What can you learn to people because I'm pretty sure that's grammatically correct. Mario, what can you learn to the people? What can you learn to people? Teach them that you feel wasn't really taught, or lessons, in school.
Yeah, so it's and I don't think this is specific to marketing, but I think that there's a massive dissonance between what it takes to be successful academically and what you think about and what success looks like in a scholastic sense and what success looks like in a professional sense. Something I say a lot to my team and advise others on is that in our world, so professional competitive marketing, there is no difference between a B plus and a D minus. Think about it. Unless you're in some space where there's no competitors and everyone wants to hear from you and you got 100% share of voice, like, sign me up for that. But, as great as Stort is, that's not what we have. The reality is, there's so much noise, so many people vying for attention, so much shit that your audience doesn't have the time to go out of their way to engage with your B plus level content. And here's why: because the little amount of time they have to engage, someone else is putting out that A plus level content and eating your lunch. And so in an academic sense, they're like, oh man, I would so much rather get a B plus than a D minus, back when I was in business school, and we almost kind of train ourselves to be like, all right, if I do good enough, if I stay in the top, whatever, 25%, top 50%, like, everything is going to be okay. And I'm not here to say that every single person needs to be perfect A plus. There's a lot. I've been fortunate to have much smarter people than me on my teams and learn from much smarter people. But at the end of the day, if your goal is to, you're whatever it is, 20 years old, and you're thinking about your career and you're like, I want to be a B2B marketing VP, other than saying, maybe consider another career, I would say, what you need to be doing is looking and saying, okay, how do I deliver at that 1% level, at that A plus level? Go out there. I learned how to do this from other people. Like, I talk a lot about them. I have a immense amount of admiration for what the folks over at Gong are doing. For years and years, I've studied them. I've watched them, and I've seen how successful they've been in their differentiation. And, to me, it was very clear. Every company I've ever worked at, there was kind of two options. We are going to have the best, most engaging, most differentiated marketing of anyone we compete against, or we're going to lose. And so, it's not a goal for every single person. Not every single person needs to want to be a VP of marketing. But, if you want to be a VP of marketing in your 20s, if that happens to be your goal, it certainly wasn't mine. It's kind of more like a dumb luck for me. But if you want to achieve that outcome, you need to focus on what you can do to get your work, your brand, your company to that ultimate differentiated A plus level. If you're chipping away and, putting in the B plus level work day in, day out, I'm not here to make fun of you. You can make a great living. You can probably, keep your hair longer than me and live like with a good bit less stress, but there is no path to just
underneath the Mario cap, just a big old bald spot right here. Yeah. Got you, man. We'll get some hair growth for you
here, actually. But
you are rocking the Backstreet Boy move. I couldn't pull it off personally, but it works for you, bro. It's like Mario 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, if you, I guess I'm a wordy guy, but I'll close it out that, if that top level is what you're shooting for, you need to figure out how you can separate yourself from everyone else. There is no path to being a super successful B2B marketing leader by showing up for decades and putting in B plus level work. Not a bad thing. You can live probably with a lot less stress than me and, make a great career doing that. But if you want to be that influencer, that trendsetter, that, real, generation defining marketing leader, the only way you're going to do that is figure out wherever you are, whatever brand, whatever product you're working on, figure out what is my path to getting this to being the ultimate, most differentiated, most engaging, most successful in my space. And ultimately, a lot of times it doesn't take 20 years of work to do that. You can go out and study and understand what the market's doing, what your competitors are doing, what your capabilities are. And you can go fairly quickly from, no one knows who I am to we're the coolest in our industry if you use the right strategy and know how to do it. No one knew who Stored was a couple of years ago.
Great words of wisdom, man. I mean, you truly are a student of the game, and past in all your experience, you truly are a student and know how to apply it, which I don't think you give yourself enough credit, for how unique you are in the way that you think. And so I want to thank you. I wish we had more time, because I definitely, and we'll have to probably just do another fun Mario Luigi
Hell yeah, man.
piece of content, even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, because I also want to dive in. I think this is a big missing gap. And, obviously I live in this world for our clients as well, which is your content creation process. How do you organize it? How do you structure it? How do you dive into it? So folks, you'll have to, first off, follow Mario.
Michelle McNamara and David Pac-Man. They're the real heroes. If you love Stored content, shout out to them.
Now I got to get a Pac-Man outfit. All right. So we'll get Pac-Man, Mario. I'll wear the ghost. Go get a ghost costume off of Amazon. And where was I going with that? So I definitely, we'll have to, maybe the four of us get together and do a quick, stream and talk about that. But that would be a lot of fun. But I'm super grateful for you, brother. Anything else you want to shout out, call out, and best place to find you, follow you, and get into contact with you, which is easy. You just got to look for the Mario.
Yeah, I'm Mario Paganini on LinkedIn. So just like Mario-Paganini, my email's mario@stored.com. Check out Stored. Just also stored.com with no E, STORD.com. And in terms of shout outs, it's, we spent this time talking about me, but success isn't, as a marketing leader, has very little to do with what you do and has a lot to do with who you hire and how well those people do. So shout out to the insanely talented, best in the business marketing team out at Stored. You all are making me look good, and I feel like my job should be to make all of you look good. Everything we do is because we have people on the team that are at whatever their specialization. They're a lot freaking better at whatever that is than I am. And when we put all the pieces together, you start to get magic. So shout out to the best damn marketing team the supply chain industry's ever seen. And shout out to the OGs, Sean and Jacob, founders of Stored. Thanks for giving me and everyone else on this team the opportunity to build this kick-ass brand, and for having faith and living with us while we're freaking posting memes in the supply chain industry on LinkedIn.
It's been fun to watch. You guys go follow this guy right here. It's well worth it. Lots of great content outside of this. I've got to go shave this thing off so that I can actually get a kiss from Peach later on, because I
love the dedication to the outfit.
I told you, we're going to freaking blow it up, man. So thank you so much, brother. Stick around for one quick second while we wrap up here. And for the rest of you, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Make sure you share this, drop a comment. Please, if this brought you any value, share it into your feed. If not even for you, I guarantee you there's others in your network that are going to get great value out of this content. And I am Luigi. With that note, much love to you, my friends. Make it great, and I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah.